Here we are, and we're live.
Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. We're pleased to be reacting to finally Everton winning a game on their preseason tour. I'm very happy, Dan. How are you doing? I know it's not the 6-0 win you were hoping for, but you must be pleased to see.
Yes, of course I am. I said 6-0, but I just wanted us to play well. And there's mistakes there. There was, yes. Obviously, they scored a couple of goals, mistakes from us. But after the last two games, I had no positives. No positives. And this game, for me, gave me some positives, which I wanted. Quite a few positives as well, to be fair. I mean, we'll go through them, and we'll go through what we've seen and give our proper match reaction. But I'm happy with that because, first of all, we hadn't scored for a long time, had we? And we scored quick.
No, it was a concern going into the game. We hadn't looked like scoring as much as even finding, just a set piece or something. But we just hadn't looked like scoring the last few games. And today there was a threat. I thought there was a threat from the wing backs, switching the play and playing through the lines quicker. And I think it's really important. I mean, we've got to look at the opposition we're up against, but at least they are going through their preseason. So fitness-wise, it should be similar. And it's more about, creating chances against that opposition. It seems like Yandolf might be joining us. Let's give him a second.
He's going to make an appearance as well. Jan's coming on.
Put himself in.
Couldn't resist, could he? He couldn't resist.
I think he's probably happy and he wants.
Do you know what though? I called. I'm going to put my hands up. I called Mykolenko and Patterson out last game, saying, "Are you what we wanted you to be?" Questions. I asked them questions, and to this game, they answered them. They was the players that I wanted them to be. And if they have a bad game, I'm entitled to ask whether they are good enough. Because they was awful awful the two games in America. But this game, boy, did Mykolenko and Patterson turn up. Patterson, especially that first half with the, was it 2 assists he got?
I
think it was 2.
He definitely got 1 for the first goal. And he got, he would have.
Yeah.
Yandolf, are you ready to come in or he's just sipping some water?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Let's bring him in. Are you happy?
Everton.
Not quite 6-0.
It's good enough, mate. It was nearly 6 goals, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How many goals was it in total?
6 goals in our favour. And we doubled the opposition scoring. So I suppose that you and I were both right in a way.
Yeah, it was. I'm happy with that. To be fair, though, and I keep saying to be fair, we could have scored 6 goals. Generally, Ali had a couple more chances. He could have got a hat-trick. Rondon will go into Rondon. I don't know what he had. He must have had a protein shake before the game, but he was on it, wasn't he? Rondon was. Everything you wanted your centre forward to be.
It was definitely, it makes me wonder why we didn't play DCL. It makes me wonder why we didn't have Kabamin on at all. Because he's shown some forward drive. Although what I will say is I was very impressed with Tom Davies because although he might obviously got the goal and he's going into the right positions, but even off the ball, he's still running. He's running into the right kind of places. Even if he didn't receive the pass from the back line, they're moving forward. A couple of people have been saying Dave Weston has said Tarkovsky's passing was. Oh, sorry.
You didn't know you could do that.
Tarkovsky's passing was superb today.
Yeah.
I think that's something we'll go on to. But
yeah,
I completely agree.
We will. We are definitely going to talk about Tarkovsky. I can 100% tell you that because I think the commentators talking about him showed you how good he was. They was buzzing about him as much as we was. He is amazing. And I hear a lot of people moaning about stuff, but you can't really moan about Tarkovsky, can you? He's incredible.
This is why he stayed on the pitch when all the others were taken off. He was the last centre-back to carry on and get his minutes up. He's a born leader out there, isn't he? And his distribution today, I thought, was top-notch. He looks he's better on the ball than our midfielders at spotting passes and vision. and he's playing deeper than them. So I want to see more of that.
Well, I know Ryan, who he said, is he good like on the ball high? He is, isn't he? He is like, if you're going to play that back line high up, he can pick a pass. I mean, he put a couple of players in, didn't he? He was really good on the ball. He's comfortable. Yeah, I know he made one mistake where he lost the ball, but other than that, they even said he hasn't lost the ball the whole game. He is fantastic.
Yeah, I was quite pleased with him. I was also pleased with Patterson,
Very
Tarkowski,
good.
Mikalenko. I mean, it's hard to fault Mina. He knows how to do his job in defence. I feel that we were a bit unlucky when we conceded the first goal. Josh Bowler's shot, and Pickford didn't he mishandled it. I don't know what the commentators were saying about he was trying to turn it into something spectacular. You save what you save. It just happened that Medine was in exactly the right place that a striker should be to follow up that kind of ball into the box.
I think he basically just get on with the mistake because he's more than earned himself in that relegation battle. But I think he tried to palm it into where he wanted to palm it. Do you know what I mean? Where you try and put it over the goal in a certain position. Try to do too much with it, just save it. But like I say, Pickford has more than shown what he's capable of for me. So I'm not that worried about that because with what he did pre-season, he basically kept us up single-handedly. So he's shown his capability.
Should we go through the goals then? I mean,
just before we go through them for Ryan, this is everybody. If you're on, like and subscribe. We want to get our subscribers up. We want to get our viewers up. Can you like and subscribe?
So let's go through the goals. I mean, the first one, it was a good start from Everton, wasn't it? It was only 5 minutes into the game. It's sort of the perfect start. We're just not expecting to score so quickly. And I think it was a Tarkowski pass from the sort of left centre-back position over the top through to Patterson. He's getting the balance there. And Patterson's unleashed down that side. It's quicker play. It's a good over-the-top ball, isn't it? And then Patterson gets the little exchange with Gordon, and then the cross is inch perfect for Mikalenko to hit on the half volley. What did you make of that first goal then?
First, do you want to go first, Jan, or do you want me to go first?
Well, I've only read analysis of the first goal. I was still struggling to try and get on the stream. I had to get from the website to the app.
I'll go then. I'll go if you missed that part. I think I missed one goal anyway, a little bit of it. But basically, Patterson, what a cross, got forward. Last game, I said, has he got the composure in the final third? The ball that he played to Mikalenko was absolutely on point. Still not an easy finish. I didn't expect Mikalenko to actually freaking volley it in like that, bang it in, smash it in. Like, it was an easy finish. And he looked like a striker, didn't he? The way he finished that. I was like, whoa! Who put that in the back of the net? And then all of a sudden I look and it's like, Mikalenko's put that in the back of the net. And then Mikalenko, I've just seen pictures of him. I don't know if you've seen it on Twitter. His face after he scored. I want to give him a hug. I don't think I've ever wanted to give a player a hug after the scored. He's like one of those cute players, isn't he? You got to love him, haven't you? But what a goal. Yeah, that was perfect for me. Patterson assist, Mikalenko goal.
Yeah, Mikalenko seemed to be playing a lot higher up the pitch. He was obviously instructed by Lampard to not let the right side of Blackpool to get out, to hem them back, and it allowed us to be a bit more dominant in possession.
Can I just say this though? I've just thought about it in my head. We moan about this formation, right back to left back, goal. So it worked, didn't it? It actually did work. That formation of them two worked.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for anything more from them, from that link up. It's 3 defenders really who created that goal. Moving on to that second goal then, it was offside, I think, but nevertheless, it was miles.
Was it offside? I didn't see it.
Yeah, it did look it.
He kind of delivered the ball through, and when the next shot you see is Rondon's about 10 yards in front.
I heard them say that they kept him onside. The commentator says that Rondon's been kept onside, so I thought no further. I thought he was onside.
Yeah, well, I think looking back, he was definitely slightly offside, if not a mile offside. But either way, I mean, he takes the ball down the right channel. He's got a new lease of life, Rondon. He seems to have energy in his legs. And I thought he'd taken too long to cross it in, but he just hammers it in, and it's Tom Davies who's made a run from deep, and you've got to praise him for that. To see that opportunity arising, and he heads it in. Yandolf, you were impressed with Tom's application there, weren't you?
Yeah, I've had a few people disagreeing. Dave Weston said he can't agree with me. It was a piss poor mistake, which, yeah, okay, fair enough. But I think
You think he's
I don't
talking
think
about
a mistake like that can be. Maybe I missed that. I had a bit of trouble with the streams today, getting consistently on the internet. I just thought overall he's the trajectory of his game has progressed, and he's kind of stepping into a role that we need him to. Whether he's good enough or not, I guess remains to be seen. But Matty Elvin does say we definitely need a number 6, which especially a right winger who can play up front if needed. I kind of agree that I still think we need a solid player in midfield. Like you say, was it Alan came on for 15 minutes to go? But at that point, we'd already made a couple of substitutes. We'd taken Mina and Godfrey off for Keane and Holgate, which, regardless of a player's performance, when you change the centre backs at that point, I think it's kind of changing the dynamic of the backbone of the team. And I don't know. It's still, as people have been saying quite rightly, it's all good to be positive and optimistic and say we're going to score 6, or even to look at the result 4-2. It's Blackpool. They finished the lower end of the Championship last season, and you'd expect to beat a team. But even though they lost 2-1 to Rangers, you'd expect to beat a team a full division lower than you by 2 goals. And I think the question is, are we still that shaky? Thorium's joined us and says still looked a bit shaky in parts though, and I do think it's a bit frustrating for me to see us play moments of promise, and then there's times when you think like Dele Alli has gone off the shoulder of the man and he's still 2-3 yards onside, and we're not flicking the ball forward for him to run onto space. It's frustrating. Sorry.
You've got on what you just said there. You've got to build the confidence. We've just been battered 2 games. And I've heard this, Blackpool ain't very good anyway. I'm sure our fans would have gone absolutely mad if they beat us. So we still had to go and win that game. And the thing is with Blackpool, like, they played Rangers, like you said. It was 2-1. So they're all right. They're not too bad. And I thought personally, I'm going to hit this point now because we spoke about the 2 goals. I thought our defence, that first half, the way we started the game, I was so happy with. And the reason being is because these are things that I look at. I proper observe the game. I looked at Tarkowski and I looked at Mina at the side of him, and I'm seeing Tarkowski pointing to players with his arms out like that, telling them what to do, the midfield, Tom and all that. And I'm also seeing Mina do the same thing. So straight away, I'm seeing 2 centre-backs commanding and telling everyone where to be. And I feel like when you've got your arms out, you're in control. When you're telling people what to do, you're in control. So that's amazing for me to see, because we said, what would they be like together? They was really, really good together. And another combination, I'll hit this one and that's it, is I thought, Godfrey as the centre right back with Patterson was a really, really good combination, because I think Patterson thought I can bomb it forward as much as I want because I've got Godfrey behind me and he's really strong and he'll cover me big time. And then going on to second half, which we'll go on to, I think when Holgate come on, Godfrey wasn't there behind Patterson. I don't think Patterson played as well. So I think that Godfrey and Patterson combination could be amazing, because the first half was where Patterson was really good when Godfrey was behind him. So that defence, Patterson, Godfrey, then Mina, Tarkowski, and Mikolenko. I like that. I think that can give Chelsea a game. I think that's strong.
I thought there was a good balance to that, the defence. It was the back 3 that I wanted to see as a centre-back pairing. I wanted to see Mina finally paired with Tarkowski, because it was almost like Keane's keeps getting put in just because he's mates with Tarkowski. But Keane's evidently not our best centre-back. So to see them 2 paired, those 2 leaders, and then Godfrey, as you said, I thought it was almost a masterstroke to put Godfrey on that side, which is not probably his better side. He's better on the left, but to cover with his recovery pace, it can get him out of all sorts of trouble. And he's got Patterson there. Patterson was very high up the pitch, and it was because of Godfrey's pace there. So I was very pleased with that. But I thought before the game Patterson might not be the man for us this season. I thought, we might end up sticking Iwobi in that right wing back position or something like that. But even still, if we can play that back three behind them, you can play different players in that right sort of attacking full back position and have cover.
It was interesting for me to see, as you both kind of indicated, having that strong, assertive centre back presence, having Godfrey to have the. I guess when you run the risk of playing 4-4-2, you've got two fullbacks where we play a modern type of football where they're expected to attack, which can leave the centre backs exposed. And we haven't had a defensive midfielder or number 6 dropping back to fill that gap or cover the channels. We did actually a bit today. I saw Doucouré coming back a lot. Slotting into the defensive line or taking the ball and giving there an option. As you say, what we're doing is we're playing that sideways ball where we're playing it and drawing their attackers onto it, and then trying to find the space for the midfielder to peel off so that once they've committed an extra man over, we've got the space back on the wing. Now, when you're playing wing backs, that's really good. And to see Tarkowski, have the confidence. Okay, admittedly, he turned and gave away the ball. And I think part of that was because, you're playing that kind of game. Blackpool were chasing it and they were putting quite a high press on us at that point, which proves how effective that can be. He turned. He didn't do anything massively wrong. He just got caught out and sort of fluffed it. It wasn't like a major comedy of errors. And he got put under pressure and got found out. The only trouble is his centre back alongside him, was it Mina at the time, didn't see it coming, and he almost had to kind of commit that foul, which I think was the smart thing to do. I'm never going to say I want to see players commit fouls, but if it needs be and you've given the player 5+ yards of space to take it into the box and take a shot, then fine. But I agree. I think to see Tarkowski command that and do it alongside Mina, who's got that kind of strength, it was good. The only trouble is, I suppose, we did look shaky, I think, more in the second half. One combination of young players, but taking Godfrey and Mina off for Keane and Holgate, you don't know. I really hope that Keane's got the mental resilience, do you think, to be...
I honestly think that taking them off, we looked a lot weaker. I really did. And you bring Keane and Holgate on, that's not bringing one weaker player on, it's bringing two. And it didn't surprise me that we conceded from that set piece with them two on, because I didn't even notice they was on. And I looked and I thought, we don't look as good this set piece. And I looked and I seen why, because Keane and Holgate was on as well. It wasn't their fault, but I just think our confidence isn't as good when they're on. I think we're more confident all around them when Holgate and Tarkowski are together on set pieces.
So who's? Oh.
Did it give you confidence that the formation can actually work? Because it did me.
Yeah, it doesn't solve the problems that we've been saying, because again, it's Blackpool, and they've come off a 4-0 against Leeds and Rangers, and there's kind of an understanding that maybe there's the psychology of it. If they've got 5 ex-Everton players, then clearly we're better than them if we're offloading what we've got, regardless of how badly we've been playing. So.
But still, when we've played these teams, sometimes we've not been able to play football. I think we said this with Dan earlier on. We've struggled with them. What did I say? Read that out. Read the comments out. Get the comments read out now.
Peter's saying that Michael Keane and Mason Holgate are the curse of death, aren't they? They like watching Tweedledum and Tweedledum. He's totally right.
I don't like to put players down because we're going to have to rely on them at some point. But
yeah,
I do worry about them. I do. They are like Bill and Ben, Keane and Holgate, literally.
Yeah, Dave's joined us again. Thanks, Dave. He's saying Michael Keane isn't good enough and hasn't been for at least 3 out of the 4 years. Yeah, well, I mean, as Dan's just said, we're going to have injuries. So if we persist with the back 5, back 3, we're going to have to play Keane and Holgate at some point this season. Reece Welch looked confident when he came on.
Do we bring Colwell in? Because there's been a lot of talk about him from Chelsea. Do we try and get him? Do we push for him? Is that going to be a random move that we get at the end of this window where maybe Keane or Holgate goes out, one of them, and we actually bring in another centre-back? Because I keep hearing, I know you'll keep hearing as well, is we need a left centre-back. Do we bring in another centre-back or not?
Oh, what, that Kim Min Jae?
The Colwell. Do you know Colwell, who played
No,
for
yeah.
Huddersfield on loan?
Oh,
He's a Chelsea player.
He played for Huddersfield on loan, and he's a Chelsea player, and he's going to go out again to someone. And I know there's been a lot of talk with him, and he's a young centre-back. It's just, this is the question, do we add another centre-back? Because we've just said Keane and Holgate ain't good enough. Do we sort that out, or do we leave it?
Well, I don't know enough about Colwell, I have to be honest. Sounds like you've seen him in action, Dan. So maybe you can comment on it. But on the balance of it,
it can't be no worse than Keane and Holgate, can he?
on the balance of it, we don't have a left-footed centre-back. I mean, Branthwaite was the closest we had, and he's meant to be right-footed, but he's just very good on his left foot. The Tarkowski thing, what is his natural position in the back line? Does anyone know? Did he used to play left at Burnley with Ben Mee right, or was it the other way around? Because he looked comfortable on the right in the USA tour fixtures, but today he was on the left and he looked better in terms of
what foot is he?
He's right-footed, but I don't know what his natural, because
when I watched him for Burnley, he used to play on the right hand side. Remember when he went over and crunched with Charlton, running down the left?
Yeah.
He played on the right, and Mee played on the left. So, but I think he can play anywhere. I think he's just a good defender that literally can play anywhere.
To be honest, I think he was put next to Patterson so that the youngster had. I think he was put there with Mina in the centre. Mikolenko has come on leaps and bounds from. Obviously, he was an unknown quantity when he joined us, so you don't know necessarily how Premier League ready he was when he joined us. But I think he's come on leaps and bounds or demonstrated his capability in the Premier League. I've got immense faith and think he should be our number one choice at left back or left wing back. But I'd say that Tarkowski was put next to.
He was near Mikolenko, wasn't he?
To give him the confidence
on the left.
Sorry?
He was the Tarkowski, like you just said, was near Mikolenko on the left. And then Mina was in the middle and Godfrey was on the right, I think.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, though. I agree with you, Jan. I think Tarkowski was moved to the left to help Mikolenko out because he's that good.
The setup that I pre-prepared when the game finished. Sorry to cover you up, Dan, but there you can see there Tarkowski on the left. And
you can't see me. No, I 100% agree with what Jan's just said, though. I think that Tarkowski was moved over to help Mikolenko, and I think it worked cracking. And then I think Godfrey was put there to help Patterson if he goes forward too much, because you're safe. That was good defence, I love that. I really do like that, and I'm happy with that defence against Chelsea. I really am. And you'll probably think I'm too positive. It's only Blackpool. Bring that defence against Chelsea, and I'm happy because you've got Godfrey, Mina, Tarkowski, and Patterson and Mikolenko did have a good game today. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Let's go back to, so we've kind of already been through Blackpool's first goal in terms of Pickford and his mistake. And then it was half time, wasn't it? We went in 2-1. I was a bit disappointed myself. And then we came out and we quickly found another goal, didn't we? And it was a good passing move. Did you see that one, either of you, with the stream?
This was the goal that I actually missed.
Dele Alli's goal.
I actually missed this one. I got Ryan just messaging me saying, because my stream went off, and it goes.
His first goal or his second goal?
His
first goal.
Yeah.
I missed it. And then I got a replay. I did get a replay of it, though. Did you get it, Jan?
Yeah, no, I saw it on replay, but again, it was only half of it. And
well, it was very good team movement and passing through the pitch, and it come out to the right hand side. I think the ball went in from Holgate. Patterson flicked it over the Garber. It was, and it was Holgate scuffed into Rondon. He had a shot which hit the post, I think, or the keeper managed to claw it away. And Mikolenko had good awareness to see he probably wasn't going to score from what was basically on the byline, and he tapped it in, and and Dele just had a tap in, which this time he scored.
So it was a Mikalenko assist, was it then? Mikalenko set
Well,
Dele Alli up.
yeah.
He's had a good game, hasn't he? That was the only goal I missed. That was the only part I missed of the game. But
Well, I was about to ask you guys whether you thought who would get the man of the match, because for me, it's sort of between Mikalenko, Tarkowski, and Patterson.
Yeah, all three of them played really well.
I couldn't actually take it away from any of them three. I really couldn't. With Patterson having 2 assists, Mikalenko having a goal and an assist by what Basil's just said, and then Tarkowski just being Tarkowski. I couldn't give. I'm going to have to split it 3 ways, the man of the match. Like a cake. I can't take it away from him. But...
Well, there you go. Dave, Dan, you've got Dave agreeing with you, Tarkowski and Jutarix.
Go on, yeah. Who's your man of the match? We've got 3 people on. We are still reading your comments, but it's hard to put the comments on and read them out as well as us talking, but we are reading them.
I'd split it between Mikalenko and Patterson purely because this game was won out of the attacking output rather than the defence. And they were responsible for getting us the goals. But I thought Tarkowski was excellent and there was real promise in that.
I feel like someone should slap me around the face because I proper said, like, is Patterson and Mikalenko good enough? Can they attack? And it was amazing. But I love it when they prove me wrong. I don't get, like, Marty, I love it. I wanted them to prove me wrong. I was calling them out. Are you good enough? And there was. Really good Patterson and Mikalenko getting forward, like confidence and everything, because they didn't have that 4-0 battering, did they? They didn't get forward. They didn't have the confidence in the final third, but really good to have assists shows, like we were saying, Jan was saying earlier on before the channel, who are the goals going to come from? 2 assists from Patterson, an assist from Mikalenko. It's not bad, is it? It did come from them.
No, it'd be better. Well, it's not bad when they do that, but it'd be better if it was more consistently. We didn't have to rely on the wing backs. It'd be great if they can whip it in and we're given the freedom to pass the ball off to them because our midfielder are holding the ball well, or we've got strong centre backs and the midfielder who is finding the space and we're finding balls into the channels and over the top. And yeah, it'd be great. That'd be better.
Do you know what I found, though, when I watched this game? I know it's still only Blackpool. Do you know what I found? I actually thought that with the wingers, us attacking down the wings, I thought our centre-backs got on the ball and they had a lot of options. There was always that killer ball over the top to Rondon where they could put it in his feet. And it seemed as well as us just attacking down the wings, our centre-backs could actually get on the ball and play some really good passes, as we said Tarkowski did. And Rondon, people are quick to criticise him. Give the man credit because his fitness was decent. He holded the ball up. He ran the channels. Even if he was offside, if he didn't make that run, we wouldn't have scored. So he was making a lot of runs. Rondon had a cracking game for me.
I just want to say a comment on this. Peter Collins, he said, Patterson out on loan. I hope that's just a rumour. Thoughts, lads? I was wondering about that because we talked about it in the video before. It sounds like, based on today and his actual performance, unless it's just because there's nobody else we could have played at right back,
it's just a rumour.
It's just going to be a rumour.
Yeah, no way. No. After that game, even if he was going to get loaned out, after that game, he's not getting loaned out, basically, for me. But I can't see how we'd loan a right back out when we've only got Patterson and Coleman anyway. I think someone just set off a rumour because he had a bad game. That's how I feel about it. Should we talk about... There's one player that I feel like he tried, but he didn't have a good game, and that's Decore, which I was gutted about. He's got to play well, so... I felt Davis had a better game than Decore for me. He was more creative, Davis was, and he got on the ball.
I think Decore, from what I saw, he wasn't exactly a creative player, but I think he was onto things. He was onto tackles. He was into tackles. He was winning balls, second balls. He was doing the dirty work that you don't always see. I don't know what you thought, Jan.
No, go on, Jan. What do you think on that?
Well, again, I saw him do a few things, and he was on for the most of the match. And I think the real issue is it just ties into what Hugh just said. If we can play down the wings like this, we'll be safe. Don't knock it, Jan. Hugh, thanks for your comment, mate, and thanks for everyone else sending your comments in. We'll try and get some, as many read out as we can. when we're playing like that, the fact that we're not exposed down the middle shows that whether he's on the ball or not, he's doing his job right. That's my thought. You know, if you don't see a player because the ball's not around him, he's either doing his job, because if you don't lose the ball and you retain possession, it's, you know, he's giving them the space by drawing players or giving it an option so that the defensive players aren't always going to be drawn in and just cause us to, you know, like they're parking a bus and hitting a brick wall. So I think, you know, if we've not been exposed in the centre, then, and we haven't had any, we're not talking about any specific centre back weakness. Again, it was balls whipped in from the side by a corner and by a cross in. Then I think that's kind of fair enough.
I just feel his energy levels was there, which is always good at closing down and tackling. But I'd like to see him when he comes and gets the ball off that back four. I want to see him get the ball, run into space, or just take a risk on passing. Don't pass it back to the back four. Move it forward into Ali or into Rondon. Just have a bit more of an eye for a pass, because I feel he's got it. I just don't think his confidence is fully there yet.
He tended to receive the ball from the centre backs, and he'd just first touch it back to the centre back, and as John says, it would always go backwards or sideways.
Yeah, I just felt like Davis was willing to move the ball forward more and get onto it in dangerous places, where Doucouré was a bit too safe for me. But I still feel there's a player in him.
This game does show that we still need that number 6. You know, that can distribute.
Speaking of number 6.
I think we can get 6 now. That's it. We're going places, mate. We are going places. Do you know what though? I'm happy with that. I said, give us something to give Lampard something to work on. Give him something to work with. We wasn't doing those other 2 games, Blackpool or not. Those players have shown positives. Patterson has shown, because I don't care who you're against. If you're going to whip a ball in like he did on Mikalenko's foot against any team, that was a good ball. It would be a good ball and it would be a goal. That would be a goal against any team. And the same with Dele Alli. Like, even if you're against a weaker team, sometimes we see Everton against weaker teams just not take risks. Where Dele Alli got into all those like ghost positions, if you get where I'm coming from, where he could score goals.
Yeah. Like he used to do at Spurs, where he was following into the box a couple of yards behind.
He was cracking, wasn't he, Dele Alli today? We didn't put him in the man of the match chat, but I honestly thought I seen glimpses of the old Dele Alli there.
Well, someone was asking, you know, Dele Alli, you know, is there any news to the rumours? I think it's probably just going off the back of, we're expecting him to be transformative up front, or maybe we're putting the weight of pressure on him now that Richarlison's gone. But people have said, thanks for the comments, guys. Jestrix again, thanks for joining us. I don't want Barkley back, but there's no doubt he improves our midfield. Because Jason's asked, would anyone take him back? I think Dan and I covered it. Do you have any thoughts on that, Basil?
If you'd asked me a year ago, I would have said, don't really want him back for multiple reasons. But now it's exactly what Jason says. Anything's an upgrade on our midfield. So, unfortunately, yes, he would be able to pick up the ball and find creative passes. He didn't play much last season. I remember watching one game Chelsea had where he came on as a sub and he pinged the ball over the top to the right-hand side, and it was inch perfect over the defence, and it resulted in an easy kind of cross-field tap-in. So he does have still a creative spark, and he would improve us. So, yeah, I'd get him in.
I think that's Basil, Dan and me getting our boots ready then.
Do you know what? I proper observed the games big time. And I was trying to think, I was happy with everything around that centre midfield, but I did feel Davis was better. He was sharper. He looked to turn on the ball. He got taken out a couple of times, so he was obviously having a good game because he was quick on the turn. So Davis did show me light, so I'm going to give him a bit of chance there. But like I say, Doucouré is a bit worried about because of his passing ability. Because it's all right being an engine, but we need a midfielder that can get on the ball and do something. In my head, I was starting to think of Harry Winks in that position. I was, honestly, because I feel he'd get on the ball more than Doucouré, and I feel he'd pick out players more. I think he's got better passing ability. What do you think on this? Winks, I would have him.
You're clearly right, Dan, in that I don't necessarily agree with your answer, but I agree with your identification of the problem. It's that we seem to be showing forward trajectory and positive steps in holding the ball across the back, and distributing and covering and then defending. It's all sort of steps in the right direction, but there's no joined up sort of connection between that and the attacking play. It's either balls over the top or down the wings. Like you say, there seems to be, it's not like we're exposed in a defensive sense or vulnerability, but we have a gap between joining up our play in terms of possession retention and then chance creation and applying consistent and constant pressure. And that does lie in the sort of remit of a distributing, playmaking, directing player who can say, I'm going to hold the ball here, I'm going to pass it back from my sort of wing backs until I find the space in the centre to get myself 10 yards and know where the ball's going to go, or I'm going to play to the feet and run on and create a space to join this. Yeah.
I tell you a player that did it, and you'll laugh at this, but someone that, like, what I'm saying is you need someone to come and take the ball off the centre-backs that is a better passer than the centre-backs, which the centre-backs say, right, I'm going to give you the ball because you're going to do something. And a player that did this for us was James Rodriguez. I'm not saying get him, but you need that sort of player that you can come back, get on the ball and look up. He did do that though, didn't he? He broke it.
He was one of the best players in the world with his long-range passing ability.
Yeah, 100%.
We're not going to be able to find that easily, but I think what we can identify is what
Harry Wanks.
the issue is with the midfielders, because I think of Tom Davies, I can read it like a book. I know what I'm going to get from him. He's going to get the ball. He's going to first time pass it back to the centre backs or to the full back, and he's not going to look forward. And if he is look forward, he'll lump the ball through, and it will probably not land anywhere near one of our strikers. I know I'm going to get that from him. I know he's not got the pace to recover if he gets caught out positionally. I know he's aggressive and he's going to look for the ball. You know what you're going to get with him. You know what you're going to get with Decore. You're going to get a box-to-box midfielder who also gets caught out of position defensively. But if you give him the ball on the counter-attack, he can take you 30, 40 yards up the pitch and carry it. But he doesn't have much technical ability. How do we address those problems? Is another question. A completely different profile.
Yeah, I know. I don't like to agree with Ryan, but I did know. I'm not saying get Rodriguez. I'm not saying get. The stuff.
We don't have a time machine.
Agree with each other. A lot of my other Twitter friends as well. They like Rodriguez, but we need a baller in centre midfielder. Like, do you know Ericsson was another player. Ericsson was another player because you get footballers like Iniesta, Ericsson, Rodriguez that don't have to do much because they know the game. They don't move much. The ball comes to them. They'll just move a little bit and knock the ball and move a little bit. And I'm saying we need a midfielder that makes everything click. That's what we need for me. Do you know the one that can just get on the ball and make everything easy? He doesn't move much.
Are you after deep lying playmaker, or are you after?
Yeah, do you know where we're saying number 6 break things up? I think we need someone in front of that back four to get things going.
Dendoncker.
Do you know what? A lot of people
not renowned for it passing ability either.
Well, I spoke to a Wolves fan. He commented on my Twitter, and a Wolves fan said, he puts a shift in for the full 90 minutes, gives 100% every game. But other than that, that's all he's got. That's what they said. So maybe he isn't going to create much. So even he basically would be a Decore, wouldn't he? As an engine everywhere. But I still think we need someone that's creative in that number 6 position.
I'd still go back in for them and ask them if they still want 10 to 15 million for Traore. Because as much as he can be a little bit hit and miss. With this position we've sank to, he's a player who can drive us up the pitch. He's got that burst of pace. He will bring us up the pitch and put a cross in. He used to do it for Raul Jimenez. He used to put crosses on his head.
Right, if we're talking about Wolves, what about Ruben bloody Neves? I've been saying this for weeks.
He's not coming.
You ain't going to get him. He is another player. another centre midfielder that fits that category that I'm talking about. This is the sort of midfielder that I want. They're not fast, but they are footballers. They are ballers.
He's got the physicality of Andre Gomez, but he's got the vision and the technical abilities far greater.
Gallagher would be good as well, but we're not going to get Gallagher. This is why you all laughed at me. This is why I said Harry Winks, because he's gettable. He'd be on a loan. You can send him back. But why not have him as a tool? Because it might work. And if it's on a loan, you're not risking much.
Why don't... Right, I mean, if we're hamstrung by our ability to sign players, either because of financial fair play outgoings or because of a wage bill, and we have to... Why don't we loan out to reduce the wage bill? Loan out, if we can't sell some players for the year to get them some experience, or to hopefully loan to buy if there's some that there's generally being talked about. If we've got a glut and we need improvements in that area, why don't we go in for some, 5 to 10 million signings that seem to, 5 to 10 million pounds in Germany, in France, the Netherlands, for some hungry players that want to, surely we should have a scouting network or an ability to look for players where we're not going to play overinflated wages because, one, they've already played in the Premier League, two, they play for competitors, and three, we have to pay for that. Why not look for some players that have some...
I think we're banned. We're banned. There's a ban on Everton. We're not allowed to look for players outside the Premier League.
We don't have a scouting network.
It feels like that, doesn't it? It does feel like that. We're only allowed players from Wolves, Chelsea,
Burnley,
and that's it. Wolves, Chelsea, and Burnley. We're only allowed players from there. It's a Premier League rule for us. It does feel like that, though, doesn't it?
We used to buy players like Tim Cahill from Millwall. 60 grand, Seamus Coleman. Pienaar, Fellaini. Okay, so there's been sometimes you have failures, and you can think of Everton maybe have been very unlucky in this and many other regards. But why are we not? When did we give up on looking for that value for money, on looking for the next player rather than pay over the odds for one that's proven his value? Yes, fast, strong, hungry, young, strong mentalities. Yes, Mike.
Drop his comment, call him out, and anyone
that is it. Players that have the potential, that are young, that are sort of at most 22, 23, that have pushed forward to play half a season or are looking like first team players for top division teams in France.
I don't think we're going to take the risk on those players. I think he wants something that's experienced in the Premier League, just in case they're a flop and they're a waste of money. Don't think that's right, but that's what it feels like. Do you think that as well?
Me or Basil?
Any of you? It just doesn't seem that we're taking a risk on players, does it? It feels like we need someone to come in. That's good. That's why I feel Barkley will come in, because he knows the league.
I think that the last few years of having fractious managers and ownership changes and people wanted to stamp their mark rather than to be remembered because they've integrated into an Everton way, they've disrupted an Everton way. We've lost medical staff, we've lost scouts, we've lost coaches. We've had disruption and change in the inner core of the squad due to favouritism, due to luxury players, due to marquee signings. I don't know. I don't know what it will take. Clearly, having some players that have been here.
I don't think I'm positive after this. I just think you put another centre back in there. You maybe get another defender as cover because those weren't good enough. I think we could be all right. I was happy with a lot of stuff. Like I say, defence and the wing backs I was happy with. Davis was better, which makes me more positive. I'd like someone in. I'd love to bring another centre midfielder in to replace Doucouré or cover Doucouré. But Billy Gilmore alone, yes. See, the centre midfielders could get better. That's what I looked at today. I thought we need someone there. The defense
it's the
was
Dave
okay.
speaking sense. We will end up using our under-23s. They've shown a lot of hunger and passion. Absolutely. I think the trouble is maybe you don't assume, because we've had a bit of a gap in that progression from the youth team, especially in the last few years. We've not seen the fruits of any, we've not seen the product of the youth academy burst forward in ways that we'd expect to fill us with confidence. We've had Gordon, yeah, and we've seen glimmers of some of these players that we've got at the moment that are getting their substitute appearances. But I suppose maybe it would make more of a positive sign if we signed a player with some, with some real footballing experience, with some skill.
Yeah, to go with them, to bed it in. That's generally what I think. We've got the young and hungry players already. I feel we need the football head and the football brain to add to these. That's what I think. I will touch on something in my head though, because I was trying to think what am I going to say on the channel. I thought with, Gordon on the right hand side with Patterson because it was basically Rondon, Gordon on the right and Dele Alli on the left as a free pushing up, wasn't it? As a press. And I thought Gordon on the right-hand side with Patterson was a good link-up. And then I thought Ali on the left-hand side with Mikalenko, they was a good combination as well. Because I'm looking at partnerships. Because you start getting those partnerships, because we all know the Baines and the Pienaar link-up was incredible. You need players to click. And I thought Gordon on the right-hand side was better than him on the left-hand side. When he moved over to the right, him and Patterson, that's when we started scoring. Him and Patterson was a good link-up.
Let's be honest, though, because that also relied on having a solid player in the middle to give the players that freedom to sometimes be the linchpin to let them play that. Whether it was Ozzy as he got a bit older, whether it was Cahill to play off when he dropped a bit deeper. Yeah.
In that Moyes team, I mean, it was more of a style. We had a set style where we formed triangles. It would be the fullback and the winger would team up with either Ozzy or Cahill to make a triangle, or Fellaini to pass around. That's why those partnerships work. And they understood each other's game. It's something I think Snod said in commentary, that Rondon played a ball too soon, not realising that Dele Alli's not really that quick, so he was never going to reach the pass. It's knowing who you've got around you and building up the chemistry and the relationship based on the characteristics. You've got to have football intelligence, which is very often something we don't see in this Everton side.
But I think a lot of stuff today, because a few things clicked, I think more things, we can work on that now. We can get, for once, I'll keep repeating, we brought positives from the game. Dele Alli has scored now, whether it's against Blackpool or not. He's going to go into the next game with confidence. Hopefully then he goes into the season with confidence, because I feel with a lot of these players, the biggest weakness we have is confidence. They're all lacking confidence. And
with that in mind, Dan,
what's that?
With that in mind, Dan, can I just, I'm going to have to leave you guys and shoot off. But speaking of mentality and confidence, before you go, I'm just going to pop this up here. And hopefully Dan can have a quick mention. We do have a future stream coming up. For anyone watching us now live or in the afterwards, after the broadcast on YouTube, thanks very much to everyone for joining us. Do like and subscribe and keep sending your comments in. But we're going to be joined by Johnny Garside, who's head of health and wellness manager. He's a health and wellness manager for Everton in the community, doing some amazing stuff, and he'll be coming on. We'd love to get your submissions for sort of questions, thoughts. If you want to be anonymous, absolutely, just send it to anyone on the team. But there I am at Yandalf1 on Twitter. Just send a direct message. Any questions that you want to ask, anything that you want bringing up about stuff you might be going through, needing signposting or some advice on how to be mindful, proactive, reactive to mental and physical health, looking out for your mates and yourself. That'll be coming up at some point with a broadcast date to be confirmed. But I'm going to leave you with Basil and Dan. Thank you very much for having me on, as always.
And we won. And we won. And we won. Blackpool or not, we won. Right. Up the fucking toffees.
Up the fucking toffees. Thanks for joining us, everyone. You take care. Love you all.
Thanks for
See
coming.
you later, yeah. Nice speaking to you.
Marco's asking what day is he on? It's not been confirmed, has it? The video.
At the minute, it said he's coming on, and I've spoke, and we've basically said like, let's figure a date out where all of you are going to be available, basically. So we want to know. I said preferably a Sunday. I know a lot of people are free on a Sunday. It's just whether he's going to be free on a Sunday, but we want to try and use it as like a little documentary to give advice on how to help mental health, but also just like you to put questions in, or if you need help or anything. Because I don't know if you've seen him. I know he's a Liverpool fan, but I don't know if you've seen the UFC fighter last night. What's his name? The one that sports Liverpool, from Liverpool, UFC fighter. Do you know his name is?
Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah, that's him. He's a Liverpool fan, but I did love him for 2 seconds last night because he come out and he was really outspoken about one of his mates commit suicide, and he said like he would have rather his friend cried on his shoulder to have stopped him committing suicide. Do you know what I mean? He come out and gave a real good words that will save a lot of people's lives. And me and Yana just want to do
Raise
something
awareness.
that can help. Yeah, raise awareness. We think it'll be good. But so we'll do that separate on that channel. But we'll let you know when it is. Don't worry, people that are tuned in. We'll let you know when it is, and we want you to be part of it. So get ready for that. And we'll finish talking about this game because I'm still buzzing.
Yeah, let's. I know we flicker from topic to topic, so let's just come back to the goals. We're on the last 2 goals. I think one of them is Blackpool's second goal, which unfortunately was another set piece. Did you see this one?
I did.
It was Luke Garbett. He has a quality left foot when it comes to set pieces. That's something we don't have, and he puts the ball on a plate at the near post. But there's 3 Everton defenders round there, 1 Blackpool attacker. I just couldn't work out how he got above them and how we couldn't put a challenge in.
I said that he had a cracking game, and he did, but this was probably the only mistake that this player made. What I seen from this was Rondon come back to mark him, but sometimes when your strikers come back, they don't pick him up properly, do they? I know Richarlison did, but he was just in front of him. He jumped for it, and it went over Rondon's head and went smack bang on his head. It seems like, for me, Basil, on set pieces, whatever can go wrong, we pay. Like, does go wrong, we pay for it. Like I've never ever seen so many good set pieces happen against us. Like, so I watch other teams, and a team will cross the ball and it'll be cross and nothing will happen. I watch a team against us put a ball in and it'll be on point, on his head, and a player that could normally miss it makes us pay. That's what it feels like for me when we've got set pieces against us. And I'm hoping, sometimes it is just looking at it, I'm hoping that look changes. I know we need to mark them better. I know that. Rondon should have given him a nudge, made the header harder for him. But I also feel we've got a real curse on set pieces at the minute that needs to go.
Yeah, if it's not front post, it's back post, or it's flick on, or it's not cleared. It's whatever it is, we'll concede from it. And it's something, we spoke last week about how it wasn't really the most important thing. It's all fitness and trying to get the ball moving and get us playing through the line, something we haven't done last season. But sooner or later, we have to kind of prepare for that Chelsea match, for the start of the season. We have to be on top of set pieces, because we can give a lot of goals away and we can score a lot of goals from set pieces. It's one of the biggest elements of the game that can be rewarding. We've got to capitalize on that.
Got to get rid of it. Got to get rid of it. And if every game you show it's a weakness, the team that you play next will observe you and see it's a weakness, and they'll come at you all guns blazing on that weakness. So if we can put in a few games where we're decent on set pieces, then maybe it might even stop teams coming at us on them. Do you know what I mean? It's just, we just need to show that we can defend set pieces. We've got the players there for it. I really don't know what's going wrong, because they can head the ball. Tarkowski was there.
Yeah.
They've just got to want to mark the man. You can't leave him. You've got to challenge him.
Well, we've got 3 of them in the back line. If we're going to persist with that formation, we're going to have 3 strong aerial centre backs. You'd hope. I know we spoke about Godfrey's lack of aerial ability, but you've got Mina and you've got Tarkowski, or you've got Keenan there. You should be dominant in that area. Once you bring Calvert-Lewin in, I know we've lost Richarlison. He was a good threat in the air as well, but you've got to be doing better.
You've got to be more demanding, though. But, I felt better with set pieces on the first half with Tarkowski and Mina because they were telling people what to do. I want to see the two centre-backs on set pieces, the leaders, say, oi, get in. Because they've got to look around and see. A centre-back has got to look around and see where's the goal going to come from, who's free. And they shouldn't have to tell someone. They should already know. But if he sees Rondon not tight enough to him, say, tight to him, mark him. That's what I want to see. Like, you've got to get commanders. I know Lescott and Jagielka, they would say, get him. They'd observe, like a free kick. Do you know where you set up a wall and you say when you're happy with the wall? That's how our defenders have got to be with set pieces. They've got to set up everyone marking someone and be happy with who's marking who.
Let's go on. I'm sure we'll come back to set pieces in another video.
Yes. Hopefully not. Hopefully we're good enough.
Hopefully it'll be in a positive sense. Everton's final goal, the fourth goal, it was Dele Alli was moved to play up front after Rondon went off. And it was one of those late characteristic runs from Dele Alli into the box at the near post. Balls flicked over by Patterson and, he latched onto it. I thought it was good. I thought it was positive from Dele. Something we haven't seen him getting on the end of these crosses and putting them in the back of the net. And hopefully this can kickstart his confidence because he has looked in recent weeks and at the back end of the season, he just looked like he wasn't enjoying it. But he looked today like he wanted to get on the ball and he was enjoying it a bit more and he got his goals and he was up for the battle.
He was everywhere, wasn't he? He was everywhere, even defending. Even centre mid, even up top, closing down. He was even arriving late and scoring goals. He was everywhere. I know it's not all clicking for him, but we can accept that as long as he's trying to make it click. And he definitely was. I mean, this was Blackpool. He could have turned up like people normally moan about and been not arse and everyone been like, oh, Dele Alli's not arse. He don't look like he's up for it. He was up for Blackpool, so he definitely can be arse. And he has been the other games that he's come on because he's put big challenges in. Whether it's bad challenges or good challenges, put challenges in. So for me, Dele Alli, one of the commentators hit the nail on the head. He said there was an incredible player in Dele Alli. We all used to love what he was. He was an incredible player. We just need that player to come back out. And it's true. We just need the old Dele Alli back that we used to see. Do you know what I mean? That was in that England squad smashing goals in and looked like a £120 million player for Real Madrid. That's the Alli we want back. He's in there. And those two goals will definitely probably make him think about what he used to be. Because that's all it is. It's just in his head. He needs to get the confidence to be what he was. So I'm happy about Dele Alli. I know it was a big essay on him, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, it is positive, though, going forward. I want to see him involved. I do worry about him in those forward positions in that the 3-4-3 doesn't really suit him. It doesn't give him that natural number 10 or set shadow striker position. But if you play that three up top really narrow, I think that's how to get the best of him in that formation. But then you lose the likes of Gordon possibly not being out wide and able to sort of skin a defender and go past them, put a cross in. Are we doing player ratings in this video, Dan, or how's that?
Probably drop it another day, do you think? I think Ryan said he wanted to do it, didn't he, at some point? Probably just drop it.
He says, do yours. As in
my player ratings?
Well,
I'm buzzing. My player ratings are going to be sky high at the minute, ain't they? You know what I mean? We won a game. Just be happy, right? Whether it's Blackpool or not, it's progression. We're going to get better.
Well, that's it. I mean, the negativity will be there. And there was a few problems, wasn't there, in the team? But for me, when you were talking about that with Jan earlier, I was just thinking, look, it is an upgrade on what we've seen in the last two games, and that's the main thing. Well, that we put aside a 6-0 defeat on aggregate and start to show that we can score goals. It doesn't matter who it's against, but let's get the confidence up.
I was getting really worried that we didn't know how to score goals, so I was just buzzing that we actually did know how to score goals. I was buzzing to see that because it was getting that bad. Let's not forget how bad it was, because that team we played and lost 4-0 against wasn't that good. So it's all right saying Blackpool wasn't good. The team we got battered by last time wasn't that good. You've got to start somewhere and progress. But I was just going to say to you, We spoke about Arsenal. What did he say? Read it out.
He said, "We win, everyone gets a 10."
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. But we was talking about Arsenal, Basil. We gave a big observation of the Arsenal game. We looked at it in depth. And Arsenal just played Chelsea, was it?
They did 4-0.
4-0. So we can't take too much from these preseason games because I'm sure Chelsea will be fuming. They got battered 4-0 by Arsenal.
Yeah, they looked shaky. I watched the highlights. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've got Chelsea first game. So it's a good time for us to play Chelsea maybe after them, like you say, looking shaky. But my point is, like, Arsenal didn't batter us. First half, they beat us. Second half, we was 50-50. So the fact Chelsea have just got battered by Arsenal, maybe that Arsenal result that we moaned about wasn't as bad as we thought it was. I mean, I'm not going to...
Arsenal are full of confidence and they're steamrolling ahead. I think they've won every game they've played in pre-season.
Yes, they are. It can all change, though. It means nothing, doesn't it? If they win all those games pre-season and lose the first 2 or 3 at the start of the season, I'm sure Arsenal fans are going mad because
it doesn't mean anything at all, as you say. But I mean, in recent seasons, we think maybe 4 or 5 years back, thinking of Silvers or Koeman or Martinez pre-seasons, there's been pre-season campaigns where we've lost almost all the games and looked hopeless, and then looked all right when we started the season. I think the concerning thing this time is that we came off the back of such a poor season that to have a poor pre-season, the confidence was just so low. And today starts to rebuild that. And we've got 100%. The other game on Friday now against Dynamo Kiev.
That's why this game was so important, just to break the curses. Like, we was building up like real negative things, like we couldn't score, and we broke that today. And then the next game, if we win that, then we go into the season confident, and we just start fresh for me.
For sure. Robbie's saying nice to see everyone a bit relieved. I know it's only Blackpool, a few new players this week, and we'll be feeling better. Let's hope we see some transfer activity, because at the moment it just looks like we get linked with someone and then they go somewhere else. It kind of makes you don't want to bother checking it because nothing's happening. But hopefully we bring somebody in. We need to get midfielders in, as you've said. I think the defense for me, as much as it's got errors, we've got to look at holistically where is the biggest issues, and I think more like midfield and replacing Richarlison for me are bigger problems at the moment.
I think your midfield will help you. Do you know, if you make your midfield good, it's going to help the defence as well.
Yeah,
It'll take a lot of pressure off the defence for me.
But
if we can just get on the ball, then it's going to help. Go on.
If you go for the player that you've been asking for, that kind of deep lying playmaker 6, very often they aren't the best when it comes to defensive awareness, reading the game, getting blocks in and screening that back 4 or back 5. So, you know, do you need both? Do you need the destroyer and the creator as that double pivot? We don't really have the right players in that pivot at the moment.
No, we definitely need... I just feel we've got loads of box-to-box centre midfielders. We've got Decore, who's box-to-box. The engine closes down. We've got Gabamin, who's supposed to be the same. The engine box-to-box. Davis, he looked today, he is a box-to-box with the goal. He looks like he wants to go forward a lot. He looks like he doesn't want to sit in the 6. That's why he probably played better, because he had the licence to get forward. That's all of our centre. And then we've got Alan, who also doesn't look
like... Alan's like a dog. He just wants to chase everything that's around. In a good way, he's trying to hurry and hustle and put some aggression on, but he leaves his space. So they all try and leave that responsibility, don't they? When you play a back 3, you have to be aware. And there was, I think, one particular moment in the first half, Blackpool were running onto this, and the 3 of them, they all backed off, and a Blackpool player had a shot. One of those 3 centre-backs has got to come out and close down, haven't they?
Do you know what? I'm glad you said that, because this is something I was thinking. Somebody, I don't know how, I just want to get in touch with Lampard or somebody and say to him, don't get your players to back off when a player's running at you and shoots. That's where the Pickford, do you know the Pickford bad save? Mikalenko backed off. And Mikalenko had a really good game, but for some reason, they haven't said to our players in training, go tight to a player. Don't let him get the shot off because we just let them shoot. Don't let them shoot. Because if you let them shoot, they could score. We've got to get tighter and stop them from shooting. And we see it loads. Do you know the way they just back off and back off and back off and back off? What are you going to do? I'll see what you're going to do. Don't do that. Put pressure on the player because when he's running at you, you put pressure on him. He could lose the ball. You could tackle him. Likely, you've got a player behind you that's going to help you out. That's what I want to see. It's all the time they just back off. It's frustrating.
It's communication, isn't it? And who to press. Sometimes they all back off, and it is frustrating. You're watching it. Blue Nose KD Dublin saying he would take a 0-0 against Chelsea. Big defeat would be a disaster. And the biggest issue is the lack of goal scorer. DCL will not play all season, plus score only 10 max. I hope he proves me wrong. Yeah. I mean, he was absent today, wasn't he, DCL? I don't know if you saw, Dan. They put out a little tweet, Everton, saying that Gray and DCL were
Precaution. It's probably true. It's probably true. Fact is, we'd moan if they got injured, wouldn't we? If they played this game that's not that important. And I just think that probably the muscles was tight after their games. They've come back. They're probably Another thing that we have got to say that we won't give these credit for, I know they say Blackpool ain't that good, but a lot of our players would have been jet lagged. They come all the way back from America. The times have changed. It could have been like a proper negative for us, but we didn't let that bother us. We went 2-0 up straight away, so that's good. Do you know what I mean? That didn't affect us. We was up for it.
No, we were up for the game. I think they knew that the fans are getting frustrated about numerous things, and we needed.
I said that. Basil says, just don't make it an uproar. Just make sure you get the result, and just give us a few positives to feed off. And do the same again next game, and just let us fans be happy about something.
If we come off with that, with like losing it 2-1 or something, I think people would have just gone mad.
It would be game over. I think there'd be another strike. I really do. It would be game over because they'd be really worried. You've got to show some sort of positives in these games for us to hold on to that we can talk about. I know it sounds stupid, but there's a lot of things that we've just spoke about in that game that we've said is good, and then you build on that. Like Lampard said, you've got to start with something and build on it.
I'll put this on. I don't know if we'll be wrapping up shortly, but I don't know if there's anyone. I don't know whether you want to do ratings, as you said. Maybe we will rate everyone to high.
Go on, then. We'll just do it quick. We'll do it quick and not even
some of these players that we haven't touched on.
We'll do it quick.
Pickford for me, he gets a 5.5 for flapping at the shot.
I'm giving him a 6. We'll be quick on this, but put your marks in as well in the comments. What you think? Like and subscribe. We want to get our subscribers up. We've got some good people on this channel now, and we're trying to make it really like stuff to look at, interesting for you, like a little hobby. Come on our channel and watch it. So like and subscribe. I'm going to give Pickford a 6.
Okay. Godfrey,
I thought he's better. Really poor the last games. Godfrey better. So I'm going to give Godfrey 8 because I think him and Patterson was a really good combination in this formation. Do you know what? I'm going to give him a 9. Sorry, a 9. What did he do wrong?
Well, I was going to give him I give him an 8 because I was going to give him a 7, and then I realised that he put the over the top through ball for Rondon's our second goal. So his vision gets him an extra point there. What about Mina? I think Mina slightly less. He didn't contribute quite as much as Godfrey, but he was a leader at the back. It was a solid performance. I'm going to give him a 7.
I'm going to give him a 7 as well. He irritated him, which wasn't that effective today. I think he was pinching someone because they had to stop the game. I think he just does that every game. But I was thinking it's a friendly. You don't need to pinch someone now. Save it for the Premier League games. But I'm going to give him a 7. But I do think Tarkowski and Mina just commanding and telling people what to do is a massive positive for that defense. So, but I'm going to give him a 7 because he didn't do anything major.
And Tarkowski?
I'm going to give him I'm going to give him a 9.5 just for losing the ball in possession once. But that was the only mistake.
You were going to give him a 10, then you realised he tried to dribble out the box. couldn't give him.
Yes, but do you know what
perfect
though?
performance.
I only on what Jan said earlier on. I think Tarkowski tried to dribble out the box and lost the ball because he thought that he's that good. That I'm going to try it because I'm that good. This game's going that well for me. I'm just going to run past all of these. This is too easy. This is too easy, and that's why he did it. So I'm going to let him off. 9.5 for Tarkowski. 9.99. I like that. I'm with you. 9.99.
I'm going to give him a 9. I thought he was excellent.
His passing's unreal. You know. Do you know if there was 2 Tarkowskis, I'd play him as the number 6 that we're asking for. That's how good his passing is. That's a good point.
Into the sort of midfield / fullback, Michaelenko.
I'm going to give him a 9.
Yeah, he gets a 9 for me as well. He was excellent.
Couldn't ask for no more, could you really? Even his defensive work was bang on as well. It was something we didn't talk about. And the commentary said it as well. His defensive work was bang on because he was up against someone good on the right. They said the player he was up against was quite good. So, cracking game. Can't do any better than that, Milenko. I'm not giving you a 10, but I'll give you a 9.
And then Tom Davies and Decore.
I'm going to give Davis, who I was massively critical of last game, an 8. But you've got to be consistent, lad. You have got to be consistent. You did what I wanted you to do this game, but you've got to do it more. You got on the ball. You took risks. You moved it forward, and you was everywhere. A lot better. 8.
Yeah, I'm going to give Davies an 8 as well. He gets that bonus point for his goal. Decore, I'm going to give a 6 because he didn't do an awful lot, but he was in the game. He's a physical presence. You can see his fitness is quite high already. So hopefully he'll be ready for the season.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a player that helps because his engine is very good for pressing the ball. But I'm going to give him a 6 this game. I wanted him to do better. Pretty low, but I just want him to do. I want him to do better on the ball. I want him to be a bit more like look up, ping the ball about, take risks.
Yeah,
add that to his game.
And then we'll move on to last in that midfield area is Nathan Patterson. Again, I think he's got to get a 9 for me because I gave that to Michaelenko and Tarkowski. And
I'm gonna give him a 9. But like I said, he was incredible. 2 assists, really good that first half. But I do feel the second half when he had Holgate behind him, he wasn't as good with Holgate behind him. But I'm going to blame Holgate for that and give Holgate a 2 just for going behind him.
He played the over-the-top ball, which resulted in the cross for Holgate, which resulted in the Dele Alli's first goal, and he assisted the other 2 goals. So, yeah, I can't really complain with his output from that game. And it's obvious that he's not the defensive player we would want to play at right back, but his strengths lie going forward. And, Coleman came in and played... As a kid, he played right wing for at least a season, if I remember. He was out on loan at Blackpool. He played a season for us at right wing, right mid, and then he moved back to full back once he got his defensive game up. So maybe Patterson needs that time playing in the team.
I think this is why Lampard keeps playing this formation, is because he sees that Patterson and Michaelenko can do what they did today.
Let's move into that attacking players. Dele Alli.
Dele Alli, I'm going to give him a 9. I think he had a cracking game.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. I think he gets a 9 as well, to be fair, for his 2 goals, and he looked lively, especially in that second half. He looked fine up front. I mean, it's difficult to judge against this opposition, but I'm sure we'll be saying different things in 2 weeks' time, but and Gordon, for me, I'm going to give him it's harsh. I don't know if it's harsh.
Wait, what are you giving him?
Giving him a 6.
Don't be nasty to Gordon.
He didn't do anything the whole game. And, every time he picked the ball up, he tried to take somebody on. He'd either go down too easily and the ref just said play on, or, he just tried to win fouls. He didn't really contribute anything. All I can remember, he gave he set the pass in for Patterson's assist. But for me, he didn't contribute his normal standard, but he will do once he gets going.
I'm gonna give Gordon. Someone's robbing your house. I'm gonna give Gordon A 7. Like you say, he wasn't effective, but I do think he. Do you know at the start of the game when he was getting on the ball, he looks really sharp. He looks really, really sharp and fast. Like he's got something about him. It's there, but he just didn't get into this game. So I'll give him a 7. But I'm not worried about Gordon because he was involved in a lot. Do you know, like we say, we need to move the ball fast to get a goal. Gordon is part of that moving the ball fast. He gets the quick flicks and the fast break and stuff. He tried. But I think Gordon had a good game.
Just catching up with these.
9.5.
9.5. Yeah,
agree.
You couldn't argue with it. It's hard to keep track of these because some of these don't make any sense out of context.
I know you got to watch what comments you put up because you might have the random one and they shouldn't.
I missed them, but Gordon needs more contributions. I agree, Jetrix. And Rondon.
I'll get grilled for this, but I'm going to give Rondon a 9. I thought he was cracking.
I don't know about a 9, but he certainly put shift in. I mean, he looked as good as DCL had been in the last few games. I know it's just pre-season now, but he looks a lot lighter than he did when he came in last season. I'm going to give him a 8. He linked up well. He did his job holding the ball, distributing it off. He got an assist, and he looked lively.
Good assist, though. I don't think the assist was lucky. He put it bang on for him. I thought the assist was good.
It was very pacey, but he put it on his head.
Yeah.
Should we run through quickly these substitutes? The back three got changed, particularly Keane and Holgate played that second half.
Well, you got the substitutes there.
They're underneath just slightly greyed out. I don't know if you can see that.
There we go. I can just see it.
Can you see it? You're on the computer, aren't you?
No, I'm on the phone. That's why. Go on then. Let's go then. So the substitutes start. You tell me who they are.
We'll go with the 2 that came on at half time, which was Keane and Holgate. And I thought they were a drop off, as we said before. They made us look a little bit shaky. Keane, he always seems to get the ball stuck under his foot or something. I don't know. I just don't feel as confident with him there. But Holgate did contribute to one of the goals. For me, I'm going to give Keane a 6 and Holgate a 7.
I'm going to give them both a 5. Bad mark. I don't think they was that good. Honestly, it just felt like
They weren't, but what did they do that was... what gave the drop-off against Mina and Godfrey, would you say?
What did they do that made them 5? They looked at me.
Because they didn't.
They come on the pitch.
They didn't concede. They only conceded the 1 goal, which was from the set piece. So in terms of our general Everton formation build-up, when Blackpool were much better than not much better than us, but they were much better than themselves than they were in the first half as an attacking threat in the second half, and we didn't really. I
feel the reason that we didn't play as well second half, personally, because that first half was really good. We could have been about 5 or 6 goals in that first half. I think the reason, and we don't learn this, if your defence is good, it sets the tone. It makes your midfield good. It all starts from your defence. It makes everything comfortable in front of it. And I felt like when we changed Holgate and Keane, the midfield wasn't as good. And like I said, Patterson wasn't as good and Mikalenko wasn't as good. So that's the reason I'll give him a 5.
Okay. Peter says he hopes you're my mates come Christmas, lads. You're so generous. I think it's just because we're so used to such poor games.
We have give high marks, but good marks, if you compare them to last game, I think the marks are, you can say that's the reason, because last game was bad.
Yeah.
So it's definitely better.
Maybe we just need to lower. It's because our expectations have dropped so much from watching.
If you think about it, we are giving them like 9s and 8s, which means like they are like Cristiano Ronaldo's and Messi's.
No, it just means in their position they did the job. Either they got a lot of passing in, or they were aggressive and they won their challenges, or they got assists, and 100% playing with that.
What you need to realize is, anyone listening, we give people marks on them. We give Mikalenko a mark on what he can be. and whether we thought he was that. How did he perform on how good he can be?
Mm.
And for what he can be, he was a 9. He was like the good Mikalenko today. And if a player wasn't as good as he could, then we give him a lower mark. We rate them on them, on what they can be, not on every player in the world. That's what I do anyway, personally.
Yeah, I agree. Then there was a host of changes. I think we had, well, they all kind of came on in the same 10 minutes. Let's just go through from the defense. So Reece Welch in for Tarkowski.
He was all right, wasn't he? I'll just give him an 8 because he didn't do nothing wrong, did he? He's been all right when he's come on.
Yeah, it's hard to judge them when they've only been on for 5 minutes.
Yeah, this is a hard one, but we'll just.
So I'll just give him a 7. He looked confident. Alan was on a little bit longer. He had about 20 minutes. I give him a 7 as well. He was.
It's literally you're gonna get a 7 here unless you come on and did something wrong. So Alan will give a 7.
I mean, it's hard to. I'm looking at it thinking, did Alan do anything more than Decore offered? And he probably didn't. And I gave Decore a 6. So really, Alan gets a 6. But it's his first game back. You've got to factor that in. He's not played. He's had this hernia op, and he's getting up to fitness. So I'm just being generous. Lewis Warrington.
Decore did have more of the game to get a higher mark. That's what people will say.
Yeah. What Lewis Warrington? He didn't have
didn't really see him in the game. I'm going to give him. I said I'll give everyone a 7. I'm giving him a 6 because I didn't see him.
I think I saw him once, and it was when Keane kind of took over, and there was a little altercation. He should have left it to Warrington, but yeah, I'll give him a 6. Stanley Mills. I didn't see him get the ball.
No, I buzz about him, but I didn't see him. So I'll give him and I'll proper buzz about Stanley Mills. I'll give him a 6 because I didn't see him.
Yeah, it's hard to vote. I gave him a 6 as well. Dobbin had a little bit longer, I think.
I feel sorry for Dobbin because I feel like he really wants to prove himself, but he's been put on in games where he generally can't do nothing.
Yeah, I think it's harder for them when they come on as a big group of kids rather than just one bedded in. You bed one kid into the full 11, you're going to see a different ability from them.
100%. It's just too late. They put them all on together, and they're all trying to prove themselves, and you kind of get nothing but just see the game out. That's all we got. So we got nothing from bringing these players on. If you wanted to get something from these young players you brought on, you've got to bring them on at half time or 60th minute. It was too late for me.
So yeah, 6 for me on the Dobbin. He just tried, but
I'm going to give him a 6 as well. Like I say, 6 or 7, unless you did something incredible.
Nothing came off. Gordon, Price came on for Gordon.
Didn't see him. 6.
Yeah, I think he did one driven run. He did one link up. I saw, and I'll give him a 6. And then finally, Iwobi had a bit more time. He had about 30 minutes, I think, in this game because Rondon came off quite early.
I will actually give Iwobi an 8, which seems a bit generous.
I know. What did he do?
Do you know the reason I'm giving him an 8? Just because the commentator kept talking about him all the time, saying he's a person that's really excelled in America. His fitness has been incredible. Iwobi has smashed all the fitness things and everything. And I thought, that's good. So I'm just going to give him 8 because that stayed in my head. But he just run his balls off when he comes on, doesn't he? He probably don't deserve an 8. I'm going to give him a 7 as well as the others, but he did. It was just the commentator that made me like him, so that's the reason I gave him an 8. But I'm going to give him a 7.
Sounds like you're judging that on the entire preseason plus training videos.
Yeah, I won't be. I'm behind him 100% because he looks like he wants to put a shift in. Yeah, and he didn't used to want to do that. And I'll always be a little bit proud of Iwobi because I was one that didn't like him, and I said he wasn't good enough, and I said he was lazy and inconsistent. And since I said that at the end of the season, he come and proved me wrong, and he's puts a shift in, and he looks like he wants to wear the Everton shirt. And for that, anyone that proves me wrong, I like him now.
He's determined. There was one moment in that second half, he picked the ball up and he had the grass in front of him. He had like the back three of Blackpool. He tried to knock it past him, and then you try and knock it past the defender and just beat them for pace. His confidence was, you've seen him in the videos. He's beating everyone in the pace drills. I think he thought, I'm gonna.
That's what I like to see.
It's confident. I don't think he's.
He did that flick as well. Did you see Iwobi do that fancy flick? He did like a proper, like, I don't know if it was a Cruyff turn or something, but he did a really fancy flick where he skilled someone completely. So he does look confident. So we're bigging up Iwobi.
He linked up with Delhi. Thanks, Peter. He's saying, Basil.
Yeah.
Dream lads. Time to go. He's going off for his Mr.
No, we're going now as well, bud. Thanks for tuning in because we love you all coming on, and we're getting quite a few views and subscribers now. And
we've still got 40 watching it. It's been quite consistent, and that's just on the YouTube. So
thanks for these 40 that have stayed on as well. We're trying to make it good for you. I hope we're interesting and stuff, but even if we're not interesting, put your comments in to help us be interesting. Do you know what I mean? Drop your comments on.
Yeah, we'll finish off on this last comment. Somebody who has obviously watched the Lampard interview. Wanderlust, he tends to watch a lot of the videos. Thanks for joining once again.
Go on, read it out.
Lampard, he said, he's hoping we don't have to face Blackpool anytime soon. But yes, time to build on that and improve on our mistakes and squad issues. I'd face Blackpool every week if I could.
I think he means about, like, like us being in the Championship.
Yeah. I was just thinking that.
No, I know what you mean. I'd quite happily just not have the stress anymore and play them every week and just win all the time. But one thing, like I've said all the way through this channel, and what you've just popped up, because I didn't get to hear the Lampard interview yet. I'll listen to it when I come off. But Lampard said in one of his things, because I always do videos and edits on my Twitter of like what's said, so we get a gist of Lampard. And Lampard said in one of his interviews, he said, like, we need to get better and then improve on getting better and improve and improve and improve. Like, just get a little bit better every game. With how bad we've been the other two games, we got battered. But at least now, like Lampard said in that interview, he's got something to improve on. That performance, he's going to take all the good things and say, do that again, but then look at the bad things and say, don't do that again. So he's actually, for once, got a pre-season game where we can go back, work on it to make Everton better, because we still need to find out what we are. And that game can learn us what we are. We learned a lot from that. I was happy with that. I really was happy with that game.
Yeah. At least we can walk away and have a semi-positive week until we find out we're not going to sign anyone, but things can change. Let's hope.
We'll get someone. We'll get someone.
Thanks, Jetrix.
Cheers, bud.
Stream up the toffees. Yeah.
Thanks to this earlier on, we did a pre-match and someone they did a donation to the channel, and big shout out for them again, because we've had a couple of them. And it's just great. There's a little thing where you can donate and stuff, and they've done it. And thank you for that, because that's amazing. Because we just put content out for you and try and give you good stuff to listen to. And to do that is amazing.
Yeah, it keeps the channel going. I mean, we just do this because we enjoy talking about Everton, don't we? We just have that passion. And it's something we started 18 months ago when in lockdown we couldn't really connect, and it's provided a good platform for us.
Yeah, well, we don't get nothing from the money donations, but basically Ryan, who hosts it all, he's amazing. He pays for this channel, so it just kind of makes it cheper for him. Yeah. So if you do that, it's great. He's
been paying for the subscription since we started, so just helping to go towards that, and then eventually, hopefully, it will go towards upgrading the equipment and background and things like that.
And we could just make it better for you. So it's good to do that. I just want to always say thank you for that, because people don't have to do it, and when they do, we appreciate it. So on that note, thank you for listening. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome, mate. Always nice to speak to you, Basil. Always nice, especially when we win. And I'm sitting next to you at the Chelsea game, so
yeah,
this should be good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be jumping on you, mate. Get ready. You know what I mean? I can't wait. We're going to beat Chelsea. Okay. We're going to beat Chelsea that first game, just because I'm there.
Yeah.
Right. Speak soon. See you soon. Up the fucking toffees.
Bye. Bye.